also my greetings to Sergei Lebedev and Dmitry Kovitsky. Thank you very much. This is a very important conference also because it gives us a sense of issues where we can cooperate. We've done a very good conference very recently on terrorism together, on countering terrorism. These issues are issues where we can appreciate our cooperation with the Parliamentary Assembly of the CIS. And today I'm very glad to take the opportunity to discuss and exchange views on how we conduct elections. And first of all, let me congratulate you on your 15th anniversary of the establishment of the International Institute for Monitoring Democratic Development, and wish you very good work. So election observation is, let's say, one of the trademarks of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly. Since 1993, we've done around 170 electoral processes in 31 countries, and normally our missions are composed of an average of 50 MPs, I would say. Of course, there are some elections where we also arrive to 100. Normally in the US and in the Russian Federation, we arrive up to 100 observers from the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly. One thing to underline, which is important, is that having an election observation mission in your country is not a negative trademark. And one of the things we've always pushed for in the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly is to observe, as we say in the OSCE, east and west of Vienna, so that every country in the OSCE region feels that they can benefit from the activity of an election observation. And so it is not single out a country who has issues with their elections, but it's a contribution that the international community does to a participating state of the OSCE by monitoring the elections in that country. We work very closely with the Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights, and here I would like to also greet the newly elected director, Mr. Matteo Mecacci, who is currently in Moscow and currently engaging in meetings with Russian Federation authorities, and I understand he's going to meet also with the Central Election Commission head today or in these days. So welcome to Director Mecacci. Together with the ODIHR, we form a strong partnership. We've been working together since 1993. We normally do this exercise in all the countries where we go. The ODIHR has a long-term presence in the country. They do thorough monitoring and observation of all the aspects of the election, the campaign, the administrative part of the elections, the legal part. Normally they also stay longer in the country after the elections to look at the appeals and the process that comes after the elections, and also they follow up on elections with a final report. But of course, Director Mecacci will give you all these highlights. What I want to say is that together with the ODIHR, we also bring a component of parliamentarians, and together we come up with joint statements also when we are joined by other parliamentary assemblies, normally the partners of the Council of Europe, the NATO Parliamentary Assembly, in some cases also the European Parliament. When we observe, of course, we have a very strict standard, which are the Copenhagen criteria. And this is what mainly we observe elections against. I mean, the standard is for us the Copenhagen document of 1990, which is something that all the 57 countries of the OSCE have accepted. And that's when I come with the cooperation with the CIS. Very often, also with your predecessor, we've discussed whether we could do joint election observations together. And my opinion is always trying to be forthcoming, of course, with the Parliamentary Assembly of the CIS. And the tradition is that we always engage and we always meet whenever we have an election observation. We actually compare notes. The challenge we have in coming to make joint statements is that we basically use different criteria. We use the Copenhagen document of 1990, while the Parliamentary Assembly of the CIS uses the national legislation. And so, as we have different kind of standards on which we judge the elections, it's a challenge for us to come together in joint statements. But this does not prevent us, of course, from engaging and from meeting and from, of course, comparing notes when we meet on a theater where we do elections. The focus of this conference is on modern technology, and let me also underline that during this period of pandemic, which has been very challenging for us and for the ODIHR and other agencies dealing with election observations, we've managed, notwithstanding the challenges, to deploy at least 250 parliamentarians in the recent elections that we had in the United States, in Georgia, in Montenegro, in Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan in parallel to both missions. And we are now working for missions in Armenia, in Bulgaria and Moldova. Also those two will be together in parallel. And of course, we are working for bigger elections in the fall in the Russian Federation, in Uzbekistan, probably in Kyrgyzstan. So all of this is work that we are preparing, and we look forward, of course, to working with all the heads of the Central Election Commissions, which I see here also connected, and I greet and I look forward to working with you in the future. So let me conclude by also suggesting to the members of parliament of the CIS Parliamentary Assembly to engage in observation, also to our own members of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly who belong to the countries of the CIS, to be more active and to also participate when we observe elections east of Vienna. I remember 2 years ago we had 2 members of the Russian Federation observing the election in the United States. So it's very important that this exercise of observing elections is not only an exercise that is limited to some European members of parliament or North American members of parliament, but it also members of parliament of Central Asia, of the Caucasus, of the Russian Federation also participate in big numbers when you observe elections east and west of Vienna. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best, and I look forward to listening to the proceedings.